Welcome to 2022. I hope you had a great Christmas with your families and friends. But let's talk most anticipated movies and TV shows of 2022.
No! God, please, no!
Welcome back to Torn Apart. For our first video of the year. I will spare you my beautiful face because I'm still on holiday and I'm literally recording this from under a blanket. As last year, I have decided to talk about my most anticipated movies and TV shows of 2022. I've divided everything into 4 different levels of excitement: OMG, fun, meh, and why God, why? And there will also be a couple of honorable mentions and movie news in general about my favorite directors. So let's start with Scream 5, which is actually coming out literally next week. I'm incredibly excited. I've said it several times across the years, and I believe that the Wes Craven Scream franchise is the most consistently good horror franchise of all time. I will of course give you a review of the film in the coming weeks, but I don't want to be spoiled, and I don't even want to speculate about what might happen in the film, so let's just all agree that the trailer looks great, and we move on to the next one, which is Robert Eggers' The Northman.
I will save you, mother.
I will save you, mother.
I will kill you, Fuller.
This looks insane. I'm so incredibly hyped for it. I really love The Witch, and I think that I love The Lighthouse even more. And I will say it here, this is going to be one of the best movies of 2022. Everything Everywhere at Once. Another beautiful and weird A24 production by the Daniels, who made the wonderful Swiss Army Man, which is literally like one of my favorite movies of all time. They haven't made a lot of movies, but I was surprised to find out that their last film was a film called The Death of Dick Long, which looks hilarious and I really want to see it. But anyways, Michelle Yeoh is playing one of the lead characters, and I'm kind of glad because when you think about it, art house European and American films tend to star a lot of white actors, and it's a shame, I think. Specifically because art house cinema really allows actors and actresses to go completely insane with the performances and to try new and challenging things. This movie is taking the multiverse theory into absurd, comedic and fun places, and honestly I'm all here for it. The Batman. Everyone is incredibly hyped for it. People at first they hated Robert Pattinson's casting, but the marketing material has been so consistently good that now people say that he might be the best young version of Batman. I love the cinematography and I really trust Matt Reeves' direction. I think that his Planet of the Apes movies are among the best post-apocalyptic movies we've seen in a really long time. Plus, Paul Dano being cast as the Riddler is an incredible choice. Also, I refuse to watch and to show you the new trailer that just came out, which is called The Bat and the Cat. But first of all, because I hate the fact that they introduced yet another version of Catwoman. I mean, this is literally the only thing that I don't like about the new movie, but also because I'm tired of trailers spoiling movies way too much. The trailers for No Way Home and the marketing material definitely ruined the experience for me, and I don't want it to happen for Batman as well. Nope is the new Jordan Peele horror film. There's still no trailer and we don't know much about it, to be honest, and once again I think the less we know the better it is. This movie will be great, thought-provoking and scary, and that's basically it. The film stars Daniel Kaluuya, Keke Palmer and Steven Yeun, and is supposed to come out on July 22nd. Thor, Love and Thunder. Thor Ragnarok was such a great film and Taika Waititi is such a good director, and I can't wait to see what he does with this movie. Taika said that the film would adapt elements from Jason Aaron's run on the Mighty Thor comic book, which sees Portman's character Jane Foster take on the mantle and powers of Thor while suffering from cancer. We don't know much else about the film, but if we look at the casting, we can already guess a couple of things. For example, Christian Bale is definitely playing the bad guy, Gore the God Butcher, and Russell Crowe is literally playing Zeus. And we're definitely getting another hilarious play starring Matt Damon as the actor Loki.
I just couldn't help myself.
I know. I'm a trickster.
Yes, so mischievous.
Sorry about that time. I turned you into a frog.
It was a wonderful joke.
was indeed hilarious.
Let's move into the fan category, meaning that these are the movies that might be good, but I'm trying to manage my expectations because honestly, you never know. First one being Moonfall. A NASA executive, an astronaut, and a conspiracy theorist travel into outer space to stop the moon from crashing into Earth. It is directed by Roland Emmerich, and I mean, listen, sometimes we need some stupid sci-fi movies, and this is gonna be it for 2022. The next one is gonna be Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. Into the Spider-Verse was without a doubt a masterpiece of animation, and it looks like this one is going to be too. I put it in this category mostly because it is dealing with multiverse things once again, and I'm afraid that it could get quite repetitive. Especially we're getting so much multiverse content next year if you think about The Flash or even Doctor Strange. Plus the fact that this is the only part 1, that worries me a little as well. I feel like that if you want to make a 2-part movie, the first part should end on some sort of cliffhanger and really hype you for the next movie. And here they're just immediately telling us that it's a 2-part adventure. And I don't know, it just feels wrong for some reason. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if this poster here on the right is actually the official poster of the movie, but damn, it looks really cool.
Correct. 3 points to Hufflepuff.
The trailer is literally the only thing that got me excited once again for this movie and the franchise once again. Warner Brothers have managed to distance themselves from J.K. Rowling. The great Steve Kloves is back co-writing the script, and also it looks like they're finally managing to bring everything together. I mean, I feel like the new storyline and everything else going on with Grindelwald were definitely not a good match in the last movie. Here they're trying to build some sort of team, and I feel like it's the perfect approach to give the film a real sense of direction. I'm of course a bit worried about the recasting of Johnny Depp with Mads Mikkelsen, but at the same time, he's a great actor, and also they established since the very first film that Grindelwald changes faces almost every single movie, so from a narrative standpoint, it actually works. I honestly think that Morbius is gonna be fun. I think that from what we can see across the different trailers, this is exactly the kind of movie that I wanted to see when it comes to Venom. It's dark, it looks violent and depressing. Perfect. That's what I want from a vampire movie, and yeah, give it to me. Inject it straight into my veins. It's funny because when Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was teased at the end of No Way Home, I was immediately like, holy shit, this trailer is literally 100% better than the movie that I just saw.
Greatest threat to our universe is you.
There is no denying that No Way Home dealt with the multiverse concept from a nostalgic perspective, and this Doctor Strange movie looks like it's actually gonna go into weird, fun, but also scary places, and I'm really hyped. I'm really looking forward to it. I always say that the first Doctor Strange movie was the movie that proved that you could still do fun and great looking MCU movies that take place on Earth, and it had the best special effects I'd seen in a really long time. So yeah, give it to me and I'll eat all that shit up.
Eat shit.
What?
How's that?
Do not use that word in front of my son.
Eat shit.
If I
Eat
wasn't
shit.
practicing,
Eat shit.
I would
Don't
slap
talk
that
to your
smug
mother.
smile.
Definitely eat shit. Eat shit. You can all eat shit.
I'm not an expert in the Shazam comics, but I think that Black Adam is linked to Shazam in some way. Actually, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. I really loved Shazam. It's without a doubt one of my favorite movies in the DCU. It's almost impossible not to love Dwayne Johnson, and it actually really looks like they're giving enough budget for this movie to shine. It looks epic, dark, and fun. It kind of looks like the Scorpion King, but if it wasn't a comedy, it was actually, well done.
Yet most of us had nothing, except for the chains around our necks. Kahndaq needed a hero. Instead, they got me.
Lightyear and Turning Red. It's funny because the Disney Pixar animated movies, they always end up on my best movies of the year lists, but when they're announced, most of the times I'm really skeptical about them, and this is really the case with the movies Lightyear and Turning Red. They seem fun, but I don't have huge expectations. But when it comes to Pixar, they always surprise me. I remember saying a year ago that I really didn't believe that Luca was gonna be good, and it turns out I was completely wrong.
Let's go. I'm Maylin Lee. I wear what I want, say what I want, 24/7, 365.
Walking is just like swimming, but without fins or a tail. And also there's no water. Otherwise, it's like the exact same thing. That's right.
When it comes to my meh category, this might be controversial, but I will start with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Momoa pitched a story for Aquaman's sequel during the production of the first film, but Wan didn't want to rush the next film, which is actually a good thing in my opinion. James Wan was confirmed to be directing the film in August 2020 and said that he would expand on the world building of the first Aquaman, of course. There is still no trailer for it, no official poster, and I don't know, I'm just not convinced at all that this will be good. I say this mostly because the people involved don't seem to be on the same page when it comes to the tone of the film, and that's really not a good sign. James Wan, for example, in an interview in 2020 said that the second one is a little bit more serious, a little bit more relevant to the world we're living in today. That's where it wants to go. And Momoa literally a year later said that there is so much going on, I think the stakes are a lot higher, there's a lot of comedy, so I giggled reading the script. I don't know. I prefer keeping my expectations low and being surprised instead of just being disappointed, you know? There's never been a good Salem Slot adaptation, and I'm glad that it's happening, but I still want to keep my expectations low because we literally know nothing about it. This one here will be directed by Gary Doberman, and the plot centers on a writer who returns to his hometown of Jerusalem Lot in search of inspiration, only to discover the presence of a vampire. I made a whole rant review about why basically Halloween Kills didn't need to exist at all, and I'll link it up here. But anyways, the director said that if Halloween Kills opened the scope of the franchise to include the whole town of Haddonfield, then expect Halloween Hands to be a much more intimate movie. It's kind of a coming of age film, and it's a very different tone, and that's what excited me about it, is to have the 3 chapters that I've been involved in be very different from each other. They're all there to honor Carpenter, but aren't necessarily just emulating him. Halloween Ends is scheduled for release on October 14, and I guess I will watch it because I'm a horror fan, but yeah, that is basically it. Avatar 2, the long-awaited sequel in the Avatar franchise. I'm so excited. No, I actually don't care, but I'm still intrigued because I think this has never been done in the history of cinema. Filming on Avatar 2 actually started back in 2017 with the story set about 14 years after the original, and the former human soldier Jack Sully, played by Sam Worthington, and Navi warrior Neytiri, played by Zoe Saldana, have settled down and started a family, and basically much of the film centers on their preteen offspring. Cameron said that ultimately the sequels are a story about family and the length parents will go through to keep that family together and keep them safe. Both Avatar 2 and 3 are mostly set around the ocean, introducing a new clan of reef-dwelling Na'vi called the Metkaina. Landau describes the new tropical beaches and shores of Pandora as a seaside paradise, basically Bora Bora on steroids. And if the first film was all about the rainforest with its cautionary tale of deforestation, the new entries are a love letter to Cameron's first fascination, the sea. Also, for the complicated performance capture scene, James Cameron hired experts in underwater dance and gymnastics. He said that scuba bubbles would create too much noise in our performance capture system, so no matter how long the scene took, if it took 2, 3, 4 minutes to shoot, everybody was holding their breath for the entire time. And listen, these are the production stories that make this thing actually worth waiting for, but it might be completely meh and boring, so that's why I'm not that excited about it. It's been way too long, there is way too much hype around it, and I just don't want to be too disappointed. All the Christopher McQuarrie Mission Impossible have been consistently good and exciting. This one here is coming out on September 30, followed by a streaming release on Paramount Plus in November, and actually a sequel is already scheduled to be released a year after, around the July time. This is actually interesting because it seems like they might do a 2-part adventure, but since we still don't have a trailer, I don't know, this might be very pointless at the end of the day, you know?
Are you in?
The Flash. This movie has been in production for so many years. I'm still not convinced that Ezra Miller is a good Flash, and it seems so stupid to rush a Flashpoint story for a first Flash movie. It's just such a stupid capitalistic move, and I'm just not here for it. They announced that the film will be featuring multiple DC Comics characters, including Affleck and Keaton as different versions of Batman. I mean, which is cool, I guess, but once again, why? In the film Flash, Alan travels back in time to prevent his mother's murder, which brings unintended consequences, which I mean is a storyline that we've seen in the TV show as well. So I'm not interested at all. The only interesting thing about it is the multiverse aspect, which, as I said, we're getting in a lot of different films already. So, meh.
No. Wait. Alan.
Honestly, I had prepared a good intro for this film here, drawing from different interviews with the director, who really tried his best to convince us that this new Jurassic Park trilogy was actually good. But fuck that, the Jurassic World franchise is a stupid mess, and that's it. I'm not excited at all. This might be controversial, but in this category I also put Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and it is scheduled to be released on November 11. I think it's just way too soon after Chadwick Boseman's death. I really can't imagine a good version of this film that doesn't feel like Disney Marvel wanted to just make a lot of money from the memory of Boseman.
And it is my responsibility to make sure our people are safe.
Why? God, why? Why are they making such a bad Uncharted movie? There isn't a single cell in my body that believed that an adaptation of Uncharted would be good. There is no way. The games are already their own perfect cinematic version. The casting is absolutely awful, even if I was to forget that Tom Holland doesn't feel at all like a Nathan Drake type. Mark Wahlberg as Sully?
What? No.
Mark Wahlberg as Sully? Are you fucking kidding me? Top Gun Maverick. I liked the original Top Gun, it was fine, it was perfectly fine. Do we need a sequel? No. Indiana Jones 5?
Shut up. Shut up.
So Netflix is rebooting the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise on February 18th, almost 50 years after Sally Hardesty's escape from the infamous Leatherface and the Sawyer family. A new group of young adults arrives in Hollow, Texas. Melody, her twin sister Lila, and their friends Dante and Ruth intend to start an exciting new business venture. But when they accidentally disturb the home of Leatherface, the infamous serial killer continues his killing spree and begins to terrorize the local residents. It has been confirmed that the original survivor of the 1973 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Sally Hardesty, will come back. However, the role will be occupied by Owen Foreb because Marlene Burns unfortunately passed away in August of 2014. There is no need to make a direct sequel or even a reboot of a masterpiece. I just don't get it. Do you actually remember 2017's Murder on the Orient Express? No? Okay, next. We're almost done talking about the movies of 2022, so let's rush a couple of other special mentions. Escape from Spiderhead, Chris Hemsworth, Miles Teller and Journey Smollett star in a sci-fi story about future soldiers and mind-altering drugs. In 19th century Macedonia, a young girl is kidnapped and then transformed into a witch by an ancient spirit. Curious about life as a human, the witch accidentally kills a peasant in the nearby village and then takes her victim's shape to live life in her skin. Her curiosity ignited, she continues to wield this horrific power to understand what it means to be human. The Lost City. Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock are having a great time and we're all here for it, whether it is bad or incredibly bad. John Wick director David Leitch shoots with an all-star cast including Brad Pitt, Zazie Beetz, Michael Shannon and Sandra Bullock on the new film Bullet Train. Don't Worry Darling. Olivia Wilde directs Florence Pugh and Harry Styles in a story of a 1950s housewife discovering a disturbing secret. Ethan Hawke's Black Phone.
Doesn't work. Not since I was a kid.
I'll scream. I'll scratch your face.
This face?
Babylon. Damien Chazelle heads for the golden age of Hollywood with Brad Pitt and with Margot Robbie as real-life star Clara Bow. Pinocchio. Guillermo del Toro directs a stop-motion animated musical fantasy for Netflix featuring the voices of Ewan McGregor, Ron Perlman, Tilda Swinton, Christoph Waltz, Kate Blanchett, and John Turturro. Prey is an upcoming science fiction action horror film directed by Dan Trachtenberg. It is the 5th installment in the Predator franchise. It will be a prequel to the other films in the franchise and will showcase a Predator and his first journey to Earth. Amber Mid-Thunder is playing Naru, a Comanche warrior who protects her tribe against the Predator. And the cherry on top of the cake here is a couple of possible 2022 releases from my favorite directors. Steven Soderbergh is working on a new film called Kimi with Zoe Kravitz. David Fincher is working on the Netflix movie The Killer. Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things is in development. Ari Aster is working on a new A24 film called Disappointment Boulevard. And Brandon Cronenberg is working on a new sci-fi thriller film called Infinity Pool. Let's move now to the TV shows of 2022, new original concepts as well as the new seasons of shows that I like. First of all, Peacemaker, which is coming out in coming weeks.
My advice? Cut it out with the introspection. The mind is a den of scorpions better left running from, not towards.
It is set after the events of the Suicide Squad. The series explores the origins of Peacemaker and his subsequent missions. Peacemaker basically is a merciless killer who believes in achieving peace at any cost, and James Gunn described the character as a superhero, supervillain, and the world's biggest douchebag. I'm honestly really looking forward to this one here. The first 3 episodes are coming out on January 13, and they're titled A Whole New World, Best Friends Never, Better Off Dead. I will be making a video about them, of course, and I give you my first impressions on the series overall, which will be a limited series of 8 episodes.
We're doing a new show for Netflix called 1899, and we're in not development. We're actually prepping already, and Jantje is writing, and we're already prepping because it's a big show, and it's our first really international show. It's in English.
1899 is an comic German multilingual epic period mystery horror television series created by, and forgive my pronunciation here, Jantje Friese and Baran Bo Odar, set to premiere on Netflix. These are, of course, the creator of the cult classic series Dark, and I'm pretty sure that it will be amazing.
It was hard to live in the moment in 2022. There was always someplace else you could be, someone else you could be with.
I know this might sound crazy, but I've been on 87 Tinder dates this year. My last date was the worst one yet.
How I Met Your Father. This is coming out in January as well, and it looks abysmal. The humor is awful, and it looks like this was made at the same time as the original How I Met Your Mother, and trust me, it's not a compliment. It looks incredibly cringy. Those kind of sitcoms don't really work anymore. This is going to be a disaster. You heard it here first. This is going to be the Emily in Paris of 2022. Netflix is finally releasing the final season of Ozark in January. The new season of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is also coming out in February on Amazon Prime. And Netflix is producing a series called Vikings Valhalla. I'm not up to speed with the Vikings series, so I don't even know what this is about. And honestly, I don't want to get spoiled, but I just wanted to let you know that it is coming out.
Hey everyone, it's Elliot. Just wanted to say thank you for all your continued love and support. We have the absolute best fans in the world, and what we wanted to do is answer some of your most burning questions.
So Netflix just released a couple of new pictures for the 3rd season of Umbrella Academy, and I'm incredibly hyped. I'm a huge fan of the series, but also of the comic book itself, and I actually read Hotel Oblivion, and you can probably expect a lot of really cool and weird things.
What's your name, sir? My name is Deez. Deez what, sir?
There are some rumors that the season 2 of Invincible is coming out this year, but there's still no official date or even trailer. The only thing we can be sure of is that Kirkman wants to include even more actors from The Walking Dead to voice some new characters. Finally, the long-awaited Amazon Prime Lord of the Rings series is coming out on September 2nd, on the day of my birth? What a fucking coincidence, am I right?
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
The series will follow a weekly release format rather than debut all the episodes at once. The series is also without an official title. The first photo you can see here is actually from the premiere, but Amazon, they will not reveal which actor / character is actually represented in the picture. And that's basically it when it comes to the marketing material of the series. We know absolutely nothing about it. Apparently though, following a very interesting news leak, it is rumored that one of the main characters in the series will be none other than Isildur, according to the Fellowship of Fans Twitter account. The tweet also states that Isildur will emerge as one of the show's central characters in its 3rd episode. And it is rumored that the series might be about the fall of the great kingdom of Numenor. The first basically 100 years or so of Isildur's life, they all take place on the great island and kingdom of Numenor, and that period's end when Numenor is destroyed, and Isildur and a select few Numenorians known as the Faithful sail for Middle-earth. There's a lot of speculation around the series, of course, but there is no denying that we are all very excited about it, especially because we've heard from many sources that Amazon Prime is really putting a lot of creative work as well as budget into this series. I don't know if you remember Willow. Willow is kind of a cult fantasy movie directed by Ron Howard from 1988, and it's a story by George Lucas. The plot basically is that Willow is a farmer who is entrusted with the task of delivering Elora, who is destined to defeat the evil queen above Morda, and basically there is a new series that is coming out. We have no idea what it's going to look like, whether it's a sequel or a prequel, but Warwick Davis gave us a little set visit where we get to meet the cast, and you should really watch it because it's one of the funnest things I've seen this year.
Okay, so we'll start with this handsome young fella, who is, all right, don't touch. Oh. Go on then. Tell him your name.
Dempsey.
No, your first name.
Dempsey is my first name. Brick is my last name.
Oh. Good luck with that.
Is there gonna be a Shadow and Bone Season 2? Well, 55 million Netflix members watched Shadow and Bone in its first 28 days, according to Netflix. That places the show as the 8th on the most watched English TV show of all time. So I'm pretty sure that we are getting one, but we don't really know if it's gonna be next year or the year after.
I see this as a new beginning.
We still have no date for the Halo series. I honestly don't remember a single year of the past 15 years or so when someone hasn't actually talked about a Halo series being in development. And this one is actually happening, and it stars Pablo Schreiber as the armored super soldier, and also Jane Taylor will reprise her role from the games as Master Chief's AI companion Cortana. And Paramount basically said that the series will take place in the universe as the Halo games and see humanity face off against the alien forces of the Covenant, but it's still not really clear whether Halo will be trying to adapt the games directly or tell its own story within the world of the franchise. I have no idea whether this is gonna be any good, but it's sci-fi, it's Halo, I will definitely watch it. The long-awaited HBO's House of the Dragon is coming out soon, and we still don't have an official date though. The decision to move forward with House of the Dragon is definitely a smart one, as dragons themselves are a huge audience draw. Fucking love dragons, to be honest, and apparently the prequel will include at least 17 dragons. The series is also based on a George R.R. Martin book called Fire and Blood, which is 700 pages long and was released in 2018, but unfortunately, it has only one volume. The sequel has not still been released, and that worries me a lot because I'm pretty sure that the original Game of Thrones started getting bad when the books ended. Also, the reviews of the book are not that great. Hugo Rifkin of the Times described it as interminable, self-indulgent crap. Roisin O'Connor of The Independent faulted the book for its dry tone and stated that reading it feels like you've been assigned a mildly interesting but often tedious piece of homework. So basically the prequel's challenge will be to establish the stakes early with the dramatic irony of Game of Thrones audiences already knowing roughly exactly how everything turns out. You know, those familiar with Game of Thrones already know how the Targaryen house will fall, and they know how the wheel breaks. So this new series needs to re-elevate the emotional stakes to make the journey still worthwhile. And we don't know whether it's actually going to happen or not. Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk and Moon Knight are this year's MCU series, and I will of course make a video on each and every one of them. The Last of Us. The first season will consist of 10 episodes written by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. The original game composer Gustavo Santaolalla will compose the score. Pedro Pascal is playing Joel. Bella Ramsey is playing Ellie. These are the basic things that we know about The Last of Us. The series will cover the events of the original game with the possibility of additional content based on the new game itself. But when it comes to the writing of the show, I know that a lot of people are worried because the two games with such perfect narrative journeys, and the two writers said that the changes that we're making are designed to fill things out and expand, and not to undo but rather to enhance, which is a good sign, I guess. I mean, just the whole idea that Neil Druckmann is closely involved with the production of the show is a really good sign, so I'm hopeful, to be honest. Our Flag Means Death is a new period pirate series from Taika Waititi. It's a comedy series loosely based on the true adventures of Stede Bonnet, a pampered aristocrat who abandoned his life of privilege to become a pirate. Taika Waititi will also be starring in the series as Blackbird, history's most feared and revered pirate. Love and Death is a series written by David E. Kelly, directed by Leslie Linklater, and starring Elizabeth Olsen as Candy Montgomery. The series is based on a true story revolving around two church-going couples enjoying small-town family life in Texas until somebody picks up an axe. My last recommendation for the year of 2022 is The Kingdom Exodus by Lars von Trier. So, I don't know if you've ever seen The Kingdom, but it is set to return for the third and final season, once again directed by Lars von Trier, and this means that I will finally have an excuse to make a video about the series, which is honestly a masterpiece and I really recommend it. But that is basically it. 2022 looks really good. Of course, I didn't talk about everything, it would be impossible to be honest, and this video is already quite long, but I hope that I gave you a nice taste of what this new year will look for us movie fans. Let me know in the comments what are your most anticipated movies and TV shows of 2022. Once again, I hope you had a great Christmas and I wish you a happy new year. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it always helps. I'm Patrick and this is Torn Apart.
Let's go!